तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोन्मयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter number 21, reading from verse number 36. These are teachings of Sri Prithu Maharaj to his subjects, and in the last few verses he instructed them to perform devotional service to the Lord, because that is the most purifying thing. It's like the river Ganga which emanates from his lotus feet. And he said that anyone who takes shelter of bhakti doesn't have to take birth again in this material world, becomes completely purified, and all his desires are fulfilled. So then he spoke about Karma Misra Bhakti and Bhakti Misra Karma, because it may not be possible for everyone to execute devotion in a pure manner. So he said that those people who are engaged in whatever activities, they can use that to serve the Lord, or those activities can be done along with bhakti, bhakti being prominent. So that is called Karma Misra Bhakti. Although bhakti is not dependent on anything, but living in society, one may also perform karma. So therefore he says that Tamev yuyam bhajtam atmavrittibhi manovacha kaya guna swakarma. That with your own karma you also perform bhakti along with your karma. Usually when third case is used in Sanskrit, then the one who is in the third case means along. It is something with along, like putrena saha agata pita. Father has come with the son. So with the son will be in the third case. Means father is the main person who is coming, and son is tagging along with the father. So when he says that perform bhakti with karma, which means that karma is the secondary, bhakti is prominent. That is the significance. So that means it is karma mishra bhakti. And other is when he was talking about all this sacrifice, etc., that you can perform karma and then offer it to the Lord. So then bhakti is only at the last part when you make an offering, otherwise you are just doing your karma, prescribed duties. So that will lead to liberation, and it can also, if one has attachment, as you said, that it depends what kind of devotion one has, it can give different types of results. One can get mukti, or one can get shantarati, means neutral type of bhakti. And if one gets good association, one can also get superior type of devotion to the Lord. So this is what he was requesting to his people. And he says that it is Lord only who has given this human body. And therefore, since he has given the human body, it should be utilized for his purpose. Just like if you go and work in a company, then company may give you a car. Then it is meant to be utilized for company's job. It's not that you don't go to the company and you are going on picnic with the car. So in the same way, this human body is given by Lord. He did not manufacture it. So it is actually meant for his service. And if we don't do that, then we become implicated in the karma. But if we use it for his service, then we are free from karma and we are liberated. It's very simple. So something which belongs to somebody has to be utilized for that person. If you misuse it for your own sake, then you are liable to be punished. So that's why everybody is caught in the law of karma here in the material world. Because nobody is bothered about the person who is given the human body. They are saying that human body came from the apes. They don't even acknowledge that God made it. In the Bible it is said that God made human body on his own image. And scientists say that it came from the apes. So then they are caught in the law of karma. They have to suffer because they are misusing something which is given by God. So Lord, He Himself gives the result. Kriya phalattvena vibhurva bhavate. Lord is the one who gives kriya phal. You can perform action, you can speak whatever you like to speak, but the result is not in your hand. That is the meaning that Krishna is God or whoever is God, that He keeps the result in His own hand. That's how He controls. You work as much as you like. You are free to do that. But result is not in your hand. Sometimes you may think that result is dependent on me, but it's not true. You have a little part to play in it. And many other things. And behind every action there are samanya karan and vishesh karan. General cause and special cause. So God is one of the general cause behind everything. There is no action which happens without His sanction. And then we may be the special cause. So you cannot disregard the general causes. Time, space, these are all general causes. And they are causes in every action. So therefore result is dependent on the Lord. That's why Krishna says, Karmanyeva adhikaramasti ma phaleshu kadachana. That you have adhikar for karma, not for the result. Result will come, not come, how it will come, as you desire in a different manner or may not come at all. That we don't know. So this is to show that we are not the controller of anything. Aho mamamim vitaranti anugraham harim gurum yagya bhujamadhishwaram swadharma yogena yajanti mamaka nirantaram shonitale dridhavrata. So now he is saying that all these people here on earth, they are very gracious to me. Says, oh Mama, says they are giving their grace to me. Why? Because they are worshipping the Lord, who is the Guru and who is the enjoyer of the yajna, who is the supreme controller of everything. Swadharma yogena yajanti. They are worshipping the Lord by practicing their swadharma. Because swadharma is also ultimately meant for the pleasure of the Lord. So with being very fixed in their swadharma, dridhavrata, they are worshipping. So worship of the Lord has to be performed, whether you do it engaging in pure devotion or you do it by doing your own swadharma. But it must be done. That is the essence of his speech. And that is actually the main function of the king, to facilitate everyone to worship the Lord. That is actually the responsibility of every person who is in charge of anybody. And it is parents, teachers, rulers, husband, and anybody. Their duty is that whoever is under anyone, they must be engaged in the service of the Lord. Then their duty is perfect. Otherwise, everybody is caught in the karma. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Bho Maharaj Dhiraj Prabho Bhakti Updesena Vayam Kritarthi Kritaha Tadvayam Nityam Bhagwantam Bhajam Iti Ananda Jalpino Janam Lakshi Prityaha Ahoti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti many times he gives commentary as if he's just sitting there and watching and explaining. Says when Prithu Maharaj was speaking like this, then people they stood up and they said, Oh Maharaj, you are so nice, and we are very fortunate that you have instructed us in the philosophy of bhakti. We are every day worshipping the Lord. And people were very happy when they were saying this to the king. So when king heard this, then he spoke these words. He said, oh, said, what a great happiness that my people, because he's calling them Mamaka. Mamaka Yajanti, that look, my people, they are all worshipping the Lord. So out of great happiness he is speaking. He says, on this earth, my people, they are worshipping the Lord all the time, nirantaram, by mere swadharma. And this is their grace on me. He is telling this to all these other sages and the devatas, Gandharvas, Kinnaras, who had come from another planet because they were sitting in the assembly with him. So he was saying, look, my people, they are always worshipping the Lord. And therefore, I am blessed to be king for such people. So then he further speaks some important point, already it was spoken earlier. He says, मजातु तेज प्रभवेन महर्दिभिः तितिक्षया तपसा विद्यया च देदीप्यमाने जित देवतानां कुले स्वयं राजकुलाद्विजानाम्. He says that let the power of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, who are very tolerant, very austere and very knowledgeable and very brilliant, effulgent, let their Aishwarya, let the Aishwarya of the king or the opulence of the king not influence them. In other words, saying that the kings, they should not try to influence the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas. Dedipyamane ajita devatanam kule swayam rajakulad vijana. So Vaishnavas are called here as Ajita Devata, or whose Devata, deity is Lord Krishna, Ajita. And Brahmanas are called Dvijas, they are twice born because they take initiation to study the Vedas. So Majatu Teja Prabhavain, so that our power, our influence, our control should not expand on them. Means they should be free to what they are doing. There is no need. If someone is already well behaved, then what need is there to control such a person? So Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, they are already austere, as it is said here, that titikshaya tapsa vidyaja. That they are already brilliant because of their titiksha, they are very tolerant. They don't have any demands. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, tolerant like a tree, doing welfare to others and not demanding anything. And their tapasa, they are very controlled in their senses. And vidya, ultimately knowledge. So they are devoted to transcendental knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram vidyate. Krishna says that this transcendental knowledge is the most pure thing for human beings. And these people are devoted to transcendental knowledge, that's why we call them Dvija. So there is no need to control them. So in India, previously when Vedic culture was there, they had a system that the education department was not under the control of the state. Means the government, the kings, the rulers, they did not control the education. All the educators were not controlled by them. So therefore the Brahmanas, they were not ruled by the king, although they gave respect to the king and that they were frivolous or anything. So this, therefore, education was not constricted by economy, that it has to be economy oriented, nor it was constricted by some other motives that you have to create clerks who give education only for that reason. Education remained free for what it is meant. Ya vidya sa vimuktaye. Education is that which brings you freedom. It brings you liberation from the suffering in the material world. That is called education. So therefore these Brahmanas, they devoted themselves to such education and they gave that education. So nobody restricted them. The kings did not say that, no, don't teach this. And therefore any king who tried this, then he faced problem. This is what Vena was doing. Prithu's father, he tried to restrict the education system. He said, stop all this study of the Vedas. Hiranyakashipu was doing that. So such people were called Asura. So Asura means a materialist. Asura does not mean that they have some big teeth or horns on the head. Basically those who are into enjoyment. Asunrati iti Asura. Asu means life, and one who is Rameti Asunrameti, who wants to just enjoy life, that is called Asura. So materialistic person. So materialistic people are not interested in transcendental knowledge. And such kings therefore were removed from their position in the past. That's why the Brahmanas, they came and they killed Vena. Although killing a king is a very big crime according to the Smriti Shastra. Because king is a representative of God. It's like Brahmatya, killing a Brahmana is very sinful. Killing a cow is very sinful. So killing a king is very, very sinful. Yet these Brahmanas, they killed Vena. Why? Because he was not representing God. So then he has to be removed. So that's why when this Sanaka Rishi's son cursed Parikshit Maharaj, he was very angry at him. That you are just a little boy and you have cursed king to die. You don't know how great he is. Even if he has made a mistake, you should tolerate. So therefore the king, they were not, although they were respected and the Brahmanas also glorified them, but they did not control. So this was the greatness of Vedic culture. That politics did not influence education. Politics and education, they were kept separate. And this point is made very clear here in this verse. So the commentary says, Idanim bhaktahe sustrattvartham Vaishnav Brahman avagyam nishiddheti. So Prithu Maharaj has spoken about bhakti in the previous verses, and now for the stability of bhakti, he is forbidding any disrespect to the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Because on path of bhakti, there is only one obstacle, and that is offense. This is the only problem on bhakti. Everything is very smooth, but offense is the only thing which can block it, stagnate it, or diminish it, or even completely uproot it. Bhavopya bhavamayati Krishna prayishta paradhata. Sri Rupa Goswami said that one can even lose one's bhava by making a heinous offense to a great devotee of the Lord. So therefore he is warning this. Bhagavatam has many stories to make this point, that some key points in Bhagavatam, chanting of the name Kirtan, very much glorified, but also offense is to be avoided. So therefore Vishnu Chakrita says that he is speaking this verse for that reason, that although he himself is the king, but he is praying that maybe I may not offend the Vaishnavas. Basically that's the point he is making. And although Brahmanas are separately mentioned and they are not Vaishnavas in that sense, but they are also devoted to the Vedas, so they also must be respected. Mahardibhir Mahasampati Bhir Hetu Bhir. So यद राजकुलात् राजकुलस्य तेजस् तत् जातु कदाचिदपि मा प्रभवेत् प्रभावं मा करोति. So because when somebody is in power, then one becomes proud, especially if there is opulence. So youth, opulence, lack of education, these things make one proud. Strength, physical strength. So ekekamapi anarthaya kim yatra chatushtayam. It is mentioned that each one of them can be the cause of improper behavior. What to speak if somebody is a prince, young, uneducated, and all the problems in one place. So that is Rajkul. That kings, because there is no one above them. They have power. And if one is youthful, his physical strength is there. And if not properly educated, then there will be havoc. So he says, therefore he says, Mahardibhi Rajkulad Ma Tejah Jatu. That because of the opulence, because of the power, the royal people should not offend ever. Jatu means level, they have to be more careful because they have reason to offend. The common person is respectful anyway. Some saintly person is there, Vaishnava is there, but the kings, because everybody is respecting them, even Brahmanas, even the sages. So they may become proud because of that. So therefore they have to be very, very careful. And thus he says that never ever we should try to offend them. So who are the people? Ajita Devanam Vaishnavanam Kule Dvijanam Kulecha Kidrishe Nahardibhi Vinapi Tikshadibhi Swami Vedibhi. So those who are belonging to the family of Vaishnavas or group of Vaishnavas, family here does not mean by birth, or the Brahmanas who are brilliant by their qualities. In other words, he is saying that the kings have their opulence and these people have their own opulence. Their opulence is the opulence of knowledge, opulence of austerity, opulence of piety, and that opulence is superior to the opulence of wealth. So that's what Vishwamitra has realized. That's why he got into trouble with Vasishtha. Because he was a king, he had power and he had army, but he could not take the cow from Vasishtha. Because Vasishtha's strength was Brahma Bal and Vishwamitra's strength was Kshatriya Bal, strength of Kshatriya. So when he realized that the power of a Brahmana is superior to a Kshatriya, then he decided what is the use of being Kshatriya? I want to be a Brahmana. So he went and did austerities for 60,000 years to become a Brahmana. So although both have power, but their power is better or more powerful. So he says, Swameva Dedipyamana. The wealth of king is outside and their wealth is inside them. Swadesha Pujyate Raja Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate. A king is worshipped in his own country, but a scholar is worshipped everywhere, because scholar moves with his own wealth. King's wealth is his kingdom. If he goes to another kingdom, what is his wealth? Suppose his money is taken away, somebody defeats him, he is thrown from his position, as it happens to politicians. Somebody is a president today, tomorrow his term is over, he is an ordinary person. So their power is not inside them, it is external to them. But the power of a Vaishnava, power of a Brahmana, power of a learned person, a holy person is within. Wherever he or she goes, it is with him. So, Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate, they are respected everywhere, wherever they go. So therefore it says Swameva Dedipyaman, that they are effulgent by themselves. They are not effulgent because of something outside. Usually we try to accumulate things around us and then we feel strong. More we gather things around us, then more our ego gets fortified. Because I becomes fortified by my. More you have my house, my children, my wealth, my position, my money, then more I get strong. And if you lose that my, then I becomes weak. That's why people lose their money and then they say, oh, I am finished. So nothing has happened to the person, but they feel as if their life is gone. Because they put their I into the my. So this I and my, they go together. But holy people are not like that. They are within themselves, their strength. Swameva Dedipyam. Brahmanya Purushah Puratano Nityam Harivyacharnabhivandanat Avapa Lakshmim Manapayinim Yasho Jagat Pavitram Chanahat Pramani Mahattamagranihi. So now people have any doubt about the greatness of Brahmana. And he's not even talking about Vaishnava, but it is understood that means both here. One is indicative of the other. He speaks very nice words. He says that Lord who is the oldest, Purusha Puratana, he is called Brahmanya Deva. Brahmanya Deva means that Brahmanas are whose worshipable. Means one who worships Brahmanas. So he is called Brahmanya Deva. So Lord himself worships the Brahmanas. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahman Hitaya. So Lord does welfare to Go and Brahmana, to cows and to the Brahmanas. So Vedic culture, these two things were very important. Now both are neglected. Cows and Brahmana. Because Brahmana means education and cow means worship. So Brahmana is protecting the education, knowledge. And if knowledge is lost, then human beings become like asuras. And cow is giving sustenance and also worship of the Lord. Like they were worshipping the Lord with yajna. So the ingredients came from the cow. Food also. So therefore he is called Go Brahman Hitaya. And these cow and Brahmana, they do welfare to others. They are most, what you call, beneficiary. They do benefit to the society. Beneficiary, but they are the benefactors of the society. Brahmana, if you see the duties of the Brahmana in Bhagavad Gita are here, then he is not doing any job to make money. Now there is so much criticism on Brahmanas and all that. That is because not understanding what the word Brahmana means. So Brahmana was samdam tapatitiksha. He has to control his mind, his senses, tolerant, study of the Vedas and teaching to others. That was his job. So who can be envious of such a person? His life was only for doing welfare to others. Brahmanasya deho yam nakshudra kamaya kalpate. In Bhagavatam said that the body of a Brahmana is not meant for petty things, like going and doing job in IT industry. That was not the Brahmana's body's function. So tapsa krichya here, pritya anantaya, that they live the life of austerity here and after death they become liberated. So that is what a Brahmana means. Same, the cow is giving welfare to the society, giving milk and everything else. So therefore God Himself is devoted to them. Therefore He is called Brahmanya Deva. And Nityam Harir Yat Charnabhivandanat Avap Lakshmi. So he says that Lord, He got Lakshmi only by doing service to the feet of these Brahmanas. Anapayani Lakshmi, or Lakshmi which never leaves him. So that means the principle of getting Lakshmi in the olden days was devotion to cows, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas. Then Lakshmi will come naturally. She will be pleased. Yasho Jagat Pavitram Cha Mehettamana. And he became famous, and he became the purifier of the whole world. And he is the topmost of everyone. So he is the supreme person, Mahatamagrani. He is the best of all, and he is devoted. So by worshipping Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, he attained this position. So Krishna himself says in the 11th canto that, I mean, if it is Krishna who is saying or the Navayogendra, but in 11th canto there is a verse like that I walk behind my devotees so that the dust falls on my head and that purifies me. Puyet Angri Renubhi. So he is saying, and similar thing is spoken here, that his fame is coming from that. In the story of the Kumaraj also, which we read earlier in 3rd canto, he spoke like that. When the Kumaraj were offended by Jaya and Vijaya, Lord appeared there on the gate, he pacified them. And then he spoke, he says, even if my own arm goes against the Brahmanas, I will chop it off. Swabahum api chindyat. He is saying that I will cut. That what to speak of somebody else creating trouble for the Brahmanas, even my own arm, means one's own body is the dearest thing for oneself. So he says, I will not tolerate even that. So that much respect he has for Brahmanas. So that from this we can understand how the culture would have been in its glorious period, when people were actually, when Brahmanas were really Brahmanas. Of course, they also became degraded, and the whole degradation starts when the head is degraded. So idanim bhakti dardhyaya brahman bhaktim vidatte sapti. So again, for fixity of devotion, he speaks now 7 verses glorifying Brahmanas, or speaking about devotion to Brahmanas. So important. Now the modern people, all the Dalits, will freak out if they read this. They cannot tolerate anything. So यच्चरण इत्यादिकम लोक संग्रहार्थक भगवद वचन अनुवाद मात्रम ज्ञेयम्. So of course he says that Lord got this power by worshipping the feet of the Lord. This is not really that, because Lord is Lord. His power is not coming from anybody. But he does this to set standard for others, to set an ideal for others. Loka Sangra. Means even Lord himself shows devotion to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, to his own devotees. Therefore Lord is called Bhagavan Bhaktiman. Our Lord who is devotee of his devotee. So he does this, of course in case of devotee he likes, he's not just doing it to set an ideal or anything, that is his nature. But he also does to set standard for others, so that others can learn. So Lok Sangrama, Sampansin Kartum Arhasi is telling to Arjuna that even if one does not need to follow certain principles, sometimes one should follow the principles for the welfare of others, so that others can also follow. Otherwise, one may take bad example. So it is always good to follow principles, even if it is not necessary for oneself. So Lord does this, otherwise he is omnipotent himself. Lakshmi is always on his chest. It's not that once upon a time there was no Lakshmi with him and he got it by worshipping the Brahmanas. That is not the real meaning of the verse. Just to show the importance. Yat sevaya शेष गुहाशय स्वराड विप्रप्रियस्तुष्यति कामनीश्वरः तदेव तद्धर्म परैर्विनीतैः सर्वात्मना ब्रह्मकुलं निषेव्यताम्. So he says Sarvatmana Brahmakulam Nishavyatam, that one should always do service to the Brahmanas. Why is that? Because by doing service to them, Lord becomes very pleased. Viprapriya Tushyati. Why? Because he is Viprapriya. He very much like Vipra, which is another word for Brahmins. He is Sarva Antaryami. He is the immanent person in everybody. Guhasya, sitting in everybody's heart. And he is Swarat. He is self-effulgent, self-luminous. So he himself becomes pleased if one does service to Brahmanas, and completely pleased. Tadeva tad dharma parair vinitai sarvatmana. So therefore, with all humility and with all one's heart, one should render service to the Brahmanas. This is his instruction. So earlier he spoke about pleasing the Lord. Now he is saying that this is one way to please. That if you do service to the Vaishnavas, to the Brahmanas, then Lord is very much pleased with that. पुमान् लभेत नतिवेलमात्मनः प्रसीदितोऽत्यन्तशमं स्वतः स्वयं यन्नित्यसम्बन्धनिषेवया ततः पिरं किमत्रास्ति मुखं हविर्भुजाम्. So he says that by doing service to them regularly, one's heart becomes purified, and then a person attains supreme peace in the form of liberation. And therefore he says that who else can be the mouth for the devas for eating the havi except the brahmanas. Because when we do sacrifice, we pour oblations for the devas, Indraya Swaha, Varunaya Swaha, Chandraya Swaha, Surya Swaha. So whatever I am offering into the fire, it is accepted by Indra, Surya, Chandra, Varuna, all these devatas. So fire is considered as the mouth of the devatas. They eat through the fire. So fire is very important. So it was a very important discovery by the enlightenment. But he says that better than that actually is the mouth of a Brahmin. When you put it in the fire, then you don't know what is going on. You feed a Brahmana, you know what happens, he is happy. So he says that Kimatra asti mukham havir bhujam. Havir bhuja is the name for devatas, that who else can be the mouth other than the Brahmanas. And yan nitya sambandha nishevaya swatah swayam prasidhato atyanta. The benefit of doing service will come to you directly. You don't have to know it from someone else. Because when you serve the Brahmanas, you will feel satisfied yourself. Atyanta shamam. And very quickly. So just like you do service to cows, feel happy by doing that. If you do it sincerely. Same with the Brahmanas. So you don't have to take some certificate from someone else. So the commentary says, Nanu Brahmakula eva nityam sevyamane sarva devata mukh bhute agnu yagyadi anushthanam nasyat. So he says, you are saying that do service to the Brahmanas and do it regularly. If I do service regularly to them, then I will not be able to do the yagyas. And yagyas are the means for feeding the devatas. And nachatena vina chitta suddhirna. And if I don't do the yagya, then there will be no chitta suddhi, the purification of the heart. And nachataya vina moksha sat. And then I will not become free from the bondage. Iti ashankyaha pumaniti dvam. So, expecting this doubt, Prithu Maharaj speaks next two verses that don't worry about this. Yasya brahman kulasya nitya sambandhena nishevaya atmano manasya prasidata. By doing regular service to the Brahman Kula, the mind will become completely satisfied and happy. Kramena prasanni bhavata atyanta samam moksham sangava. And when mind will become peaceful, then one will also get moksha naturally. Anati velam shigrameva. And this will happen very quickly. Ateva tatah param kim havir bhujam devanam mukhamasta. So therefore, who else can be the mouth for the devatas? Brahmana sevaya eva yagyadi phalam jnana phalam sarvam eva siddhati. So the meaning is that by doing service to the Brahmanas, you will get the benefit of doing the yagya. And you will also get knowledge. Don't have to do anything separately. Whatever you are trying to get by your yajna, that will happen by this only. So, no need to be in anxiety. So in the upcoming verses he continues to speak about it. We'll read that tomorrow if there is any question on this.
About this educational system, how it came that they start to, the rulers, they start to enter in the educational system, or how it was being described?
That happens when with time everything becomes degraded. Brahmanas also became degraded and naturally they have to control. When a person does not do what one is supposed to do, then there is corruption. You want the result, you don't do your job. And that's what corruption means. When you start doing somebody else's duty, so Brahmanas gave up their duty and they started, because they don't want to be austere anymore, so they start doing others' duty, which is comfortable physically. So as time passes, people become more and more comfort oriented. In the beginning, people were living in the forest. Everybody was living in forest. There were no cities. We read that. Rituman is the one who made cities and towns. So that was not very comfortable. You have to find your food every day. Every day. That's how Ayurveda also says. The disease came only when the cities came. When there were no cities, there were no disease. Because everybody was working for their food every day. They have to go, fresh air, exercise, and fresh food. No sickness. All Vata, Pitta, Kapha balanced. And then they started hoarding things. So then started bartering, exchange, all this system came, and the disease came. And then they have to get Ayurveda. So as time passes, people mind, one of the tendency of the mind is to find the path of least resistance. So that's why so many inventions are being done by technology, day by day, day by day. This is to give you more and more comfort. So in remote control, you don't have to get up from your seat, you can do everything. Now they are coming, trying to invent that they can put a chip in your brain, and just by thinking you can control everything. You don't have to carry it in your hand. So everybody will have a unique chip, and then your house lock will also be opened by that. Open your car with that, you feed everything in it. So you just think, it's very comfortable.
So Babaji, these are all like conscious or unconscious attempts to be like God or to be God.
Yes.
God among other men and women who also feel like they're gods.
Yeah, because I don't want to do anything, I want to enjoy and control Ishvara. It's called Ishvara Bhav.
So the more you enjoy, more
the
you
more you
enjoy,
want to enjoy.
the more you want to enjoy.
Because more you enjoy, more you feel dissatisfied. And then you want more.
It's like drugs.
Yeah, like drug.
People who get addicted.
You want higher potency, high doses.
Now why if this enjoyment is such a detrimental thing, everybody wants it?
What?
Why, if this enjoyment is so dangerous and antagonistic to the development of the people, everybody wants it?
No, enjoyment is not detrimental, but if it is proper enjoyment. People are enjoying in ignorance, trying to enjoy. They are not enjoying actually. Enjoyment is the form of the Lord. He is Ananda Vigraha. So we are all looking for Ananda
So it's natural.
naturally. This means we are all in search of God. Problem we are searching in the wrong place. We are searching the key under the lamppost. And actually it has fallen outside the door. So that is the problem.
And is that the same as the ego? The human ego just doesn't want to surrender to worshipping a higher being. Power.
Yeah, it's
There's
actually
resistance to
ignorance. Also it can surrender because there is also natural tendency to surrender also. But when ignorance is there, then it does not want to surrender. When proper understanding is there, everybody also likes once in a while to surrender to somebody. That tendency is also there. That's why people are fans of so many celebrities. Why they become fans? They want to worship. So this tendency is there. But because of ignorance, it is not directed properly. And they worship these people who are not worthy of worship.
I have a question about this independence of education from the kingdom of the state, if you want. Well, we see from history that in those days not everybody got education. It was very much restricted to a particular class of people. And the common people were all illiterate and really didn't have much education in the sense of schooling. So, isn't that a kind of injustice?
Well, actually, at least you know that out of 4 Varnas, 3 were called Dvijas, right? Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya. They were called Dvija, which means that they all got educated. Because the very meaning of Dvija is one who has gone through education. Second birth. Second birth is through education. So at least, I don't know by the percentage, the numbers, how much was the population, but from 4 to take 3, they were all educated, 100%. Because without that they could not go through the ceremonies. If they were not educated, they will not be part of Dvija, then they become Dvijbandhu. They could not even be married, they could not go to Grihasthashram. Because nobody will marry them. Cannot do a sacrifice for somebody who does not have a family, which means who has not been educated. So it is wrong understanding that education was limited. It was compulsory. And it was the duty of the king to see that everybody got education. Only the Sudras who were not qualified to study the Vedas. And that also does not mean that they did not study anything. They studied whatever the sculpture or art in their family and some other things. So education was compulsory. This illiteracy came later on. There were no illiterate people. Even if you read the memoirs of all these Dasa and Chinese travelers who came in the 6th century, 7th century in India, they have written on it. There were no illiterate people.
So you could say that once the Brahmanas lost their independence in regards to education, and the system changed due to invaders or whatever.
Problems came, invaders came, they disturbed the system, education was disturbed. And when education is disturbed, then people got wrong ideas. Sometimes it happens over a period of thousands of years. It didn't happen in one day. So many factors got involved in it.
So then how did so if the kings did not interfere with the education of the populace, how did they execute their power on the...
Well, interfere in the sense that they did not control these people, that they have to teach this subject and not teach this subject. They interfered to make sure that there was education. They interfered in the sense that Brahmanas were taken care of. They supplied their needs out of their gurukulas. They gave endowments to them, but not trying to control them, that you educate them which will help me in some way to attain my mind. Like now, there are educations like this. People actually set up chairs in the university, they have an agenda behind it. So kings did not have an agenda like that. That's what I mean. Okay.